Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Maker and today we are setting up a new Cricut Maker cutting machine. This is the Cricut Kickoff Lesson 1 and we're going to set up this maker together, step by step. Pull up a chair in my craft room and let's get started. Now the Cricut Maker is a computer-guided cutting machine that cuts more than 300 different materials, everything from vinyl, paper and fabrics to basswood, leather, and mat board. The Cricut Maker is my favorite machine. I got it the day it came out in summer 2017. I believe, and I still use that very same machine to this day. You can see my very first Cricut right here, back behind me. Can you see that? Yes, it's right there. The Cricut Maker is the top of the line cutting machine and it has 10 times the cutting power of the Explorer cutting machine. It also has the adaptive tool system with a wide range of tools for cutting, scoring, writing, debossing, engraving, and a whole bunch of cool things like that. So here I have a brand new and still sealed in the box Cricut Maker cutting machine. I'm going to open the box, see what's inside, show it to everyone, show it to you so you can see with me. We're going to connect it to a variety of devices, including an iPad, an Android, a Windows laptop, and a Mac desktop computer. So basically everything. And then we'll do a test cut. My goal is to get you set up and able to cut by the end of this video. It's really easy and you can totally do this. Now I do have something special for everyone, a totally free printable handbook that goes along with these free lessons. You can download it right now at CricutKickoff.com. Just register for the class and you'll get the printable handbook. I'll be referring to it as we go along during today's lesson. So are you ready to unbox this marvel? It's an awesome machine. Let's get this big box opened and set her up. All right, inside we have, it's like a double lid. There we go. We have a box. It says, let's get started. Right here, cool. Awesome, okay, so what's inside this box? I wanna see. Inside, materials for your first project. This is a nice presentation. Isn't that pretty? We have, this looks like a tool. That looks like the rotary blade. See that? Little beautiful thing. I love the rotary blade. And a booklet right here. And this is the welcome book. So this is very pretty. I really like this packaging. All right, so let's set this aside. We're gonna look at that and it'll tell us what to do. These lift right out like this. All right, so it looks like it's in a little wrapper here. So what we need to do is lift this up and out of the box. There we go. All right, so inside here we have the power supply. This is the power supply, so I'll set this aside. And a mat, 2 mats right here. So we'll just set these over here as well. Is there anything else in here that we're missing? Always look inside your box. If you get a bundle, sometimes there'll be something in here or underneath or something, but I don't see anything else. I put my box off to the side. We're going to keep it. I always recommend you keep your box. So it looks like it's backwards right now. So let's flip it around. And okay, so in the box, besides the maker, we have our mats. This is a blue light grip mat. And this is a pink fabric mat, which makes sense because the Cricut is a champ at cutting fabric. And then our power supply. And our box, our let's get started box, right? That was everything in the box. All right, so let's cut the seal very carefully on this. Don't want to scratch the Cricut or anything like that. There we go. It's shrink wrapped. It's so pretty. I love the Maker. It really is my favorite machine. Alrighty. There it is. And again, this is the champagne color. I mean, it looks silver, but they call it champagne. It does have like a tint to it, a kind of golden color to it. I'm not sure what that would be, but like it does. It's not So that's strictly gray or silver. Again, we have the materials for our first project. We'll set those there because we will use those for our test cut. Now let's take a look at our welcome book because this is going to tell us what we need to do. On the first page, the welcome book tells us that we can begin at cricut.com/setup. This means that we need an internet connection. So before we ever go to cricut.com/setup, we need to talk about internet and how to connect with our Cricut. So that leads us to step 2, connect to your Cricut Maker. So to do this, you need to make sure you have an internet connection. So Cricut tells us we need a broadband connection of at least like 2 to 3 megabits per second, which really isn't that fast. My connection here at my home is 100 megabits per second. So most people will have no problem with this. You also need a device to connect to your Cricut to, because a Cricut does not operate independently. So that can be a Windows computer running Windows 8 or later, a Mac computer running OS 10.13 or higher, an iPhone or iPad running iOS 12 or later, and an Android such as this Samsung tablet running version 6 or later. So I want to show you how to connect to each of these devices in turn. We will start with the Mac computer because that's what I'm recording this lesson on right now. And we'll do a Windows computer, an iPad, and an Android tablet. So to begin, I'm going to go cricut.com/setup. We're going to download that and we're going to walk through the steps it tells us to do. cricut.com/setup. Return. All right, so here we are at Cricut Design Space. We need to download it. And we click the download button right here. It downloads it for us. And we're going to go open it up and click on open, just like that. I'm using Google Chrome. If you're using something else, you may need to actually go to your downloads folder on my computer. So we're going to just drag this right over here like this. I'm going to go to my applications folder. Let's double click this right now. Okay, so this is what we see once we have Cricut Design Space installed on our computer. And so what we want to do is click this green button down at the bottom that says Product Setup. So we click on that. Now we can set up a variety of things, but we're looking for our Cricut Maker, right? So we're going to click on Smart Cutting Machine and find the Cricut Maker. And we just click that. If you already have a Cricut ID, you would click down here where it says Sign In. I do, but I want to show you what it's like from the very beginning. All right, so if you are brand new to Cricut, you need to put in your information. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Be sure you type this email address correctly. Otherwise, you know, your emails won't go to the right place and you'll find it hard to log in and all that stuff. So, and we will choose a simple password for now. Before I continue, I want to remind everybody, the Cricut Kickoff Handbook has a place for you to record this information in it. So definitely be following along as we do this. Here's where you can make a note of the times for our classes. This is what we're doing right now, lesson 1. And this is information you can record about your Cricut. Very useful to have. This is what we're doing right now, our setup checklist. And this page here is a place for you to record the email address and password for your Design Space account, which is what you're creating right now. So make a note of this so it's easier to log in later and you can get to creating things faster. Okay? So make a note of that, be sure. And now we're going to click Create a Cricut ID and make a new one for our lesson. You have to agree to their updated policies. You can click here to read them and then click Accept. All right, so we need to prepare our workspace. All right, so the Cricut, and I'm going to open it up so you can take a look at this. So here's the Cricut. The material comes in this way, and then it comes out the back when it is, not when it's done, but when it's moving. So here in the back, you'll see like a slot here. Your mat moves through the machine back and forth as it's cutting, okay? So it's going to need to have space behind it for the mat. And if you were to use one of the double long mats, the 24-inch mats, and have a big project, of course, you would need even more. But most people are just going to use the standard mat that came in the box. So 10 inches behind. So don't put it right up close to a wall or your mat will hit the wall and be unhappy. And while we're looking at it, let's go ahead and remove this styrofoam. that's in here for shipping. We do not want that in there. Be sure to take that out. It just pulls straight out just like that. Okay. Find an outlet. So we're going to plug the Cricut Maker into a wall outlet and power it on. Alrighty. So here's our Cricut. We need our power supply, right? So it came in the box, which is right here. Here's our power supply. Pull that right off. So there's a protective covering right here, this little plastic thing to keep the prong safe, and it's got twisty ties on it. I'll just undo this side, I think. It's got a little Velcro on this side, which is handy. There we go. Okay, so this is not the longest cord ever. I generally recommend that you need to be, I think maybe this is 6 to 8 feet long between these two parts here. I would say, so you're going to want a wall outlet that's close enough to use, or an extension cord, that's fine too. This end is the one that goes into your Cricut. This is that goes into the port at the back of your Cricut. And of course this end goes into your wall outlet or your power strip or surge suppressor. So let me turn this around so you can see where it goes into the back. It's right here. There. Now we need to hook it up to our wall outlet or a power strip or a surge suppressor. I have a strip right here that we prepared in advance, and so it goes in right here, just like that. Okay, so now it's got power. So we're gonna swing it around. There we go. Now it's said to power it on. Well, gosh, I don't really see any buttons here. There's nothing on the back and there's nothing on the front. So it's a very pretty machine. If this is your first time using it, it could stump you a little bit. I want you to note that in your welcome packet, there is a diagram. So ready to get started, we've done this page. Table of contents is right here. And this tells you about your Cricut. And here is a really nice diagram of all of the things in your Cricut Maker so that you know what the right terminology is for everything when you're looking something up. So this is a great little thing to just keep next to your Cricut as you're learning how to use it and what everything is called. You'll notice it opens up, right? So this looks different than this. So you just pull up like this and it opens for us. Isn't that cool? First we have our storage cup. Here, our storage cup. This one is a little deeper than this one. So this one is better for tools and things with that are longer. This one is better for shorter things like maybe blades or something. Here's the power button. It did say to power it on. Shall we go ahead and do that? You can see that it lit up, right? It's lit up when it's powered on. So it's powered on. It always, the first time you turn it on, you'll hear its motor. It's probably doing like a system check or something. Okay, so that's the power button. This here is the mat load and unload. You can see that here. It's a double arrow. This is the go button. It looks like the Cricut symbol. It's like the little Cricut logo. Some people call it the cut button because it looks like a C. And this is the pause button. You can always pause a project if you have to fix something or rescue something or anything's going wrong or whatever. So the pause button is always available to you. This here is the blade assembly itself. So there's two clamps here. This is clamp A and this is clamp B. Clamp A is used for the things like the pen, which we must have a pen. I didn't see a pen in our box. Let's double check that. Here's our, I feel like there's more here that might be hidden. Let's, oh, there is. There's totally like a little thing right here. Ah, look at that. There's a hidden compartment in the box. It's been, like I said, it's been a while since I unboxed a Cricut Maker. Here's our pen. And here's our USB cord. We're going to need that for sure. And here's our warranty information. So this is clamp A, and this is used for the scoring stylus and things like the Cricut pens, right? So here's the pen that came in the box. Every Cricut comes with a pen. And then this is clamp B, and this is where your blades go. So, and you have a fine point blade in here already. So if you're wondering where it is, it's installed. It comes pre-installed in your machine. Clamps are opened just by opening and closing like this. And this clamp, however, has a gear in it, so it's a little bit, it's got like a double fold thing going on like this. So you fold in one and then you fold in the other, just like that, okay? So other things of note here are, so these are your rollers over here. So there's a roller here. There's one over here as well. There's one on both sides, see? And these white rollers here, these are actually called the star wheels. And sometimes you actually kind of roll them, move them all over to the side, but we don't have to do that now, but that's what those are. Those are the star wheels. And let's see, 3 more features I have to tell you about. Okay, so one is that there is a storage compartment right here. So you can just put your finger under here and lift it up. See? Storage compartment. This is the blade compartment. This is a metal strip, and it's magnetized, or the blades are magnetized, one or the other. And you can put the individual blades right here. You can put the housings right here. And then here's 2 other compartments that you can use for tools or other blades or candy or whatever you like. All right. And that just closes like that, and it's pretty secure. You can feel free to load that up, and as long as it closes, it's fine. There is a slot up here. You see this slot right here? This is for putting your tablet in, or your phone, or whatever. That is literally what it's for. Is that cool or what? So that people who like to use their mobile devices instead of their computers, you would just set it here so that you can see it as you're working. It's cool. So that's what that's for. I actually, since I don't usually use a mobile device to cut with, what I usually use that for myself, so you know, is when I am working on a project, I will stick a mat up there like that, especially if I haven't yet cleaned it off. So it's out of the way, just so you know. Okay, so let's see. Oh, and one more thing a lot of people don't know about. This is a USB port for charging your devices as you're using them. And I will admit, I have used this port to charge other things. Your Maker just has to be plugged in, and then it'll charge USB devices. So I've charged my keyboard, I've charged my headset, I've charged other things with it. But one thing that's really important that I want you to be sure of. So we're going to be using the USB cord in a moment. The USB cord itself does not go into this. This is for your devices and other things like that. You're not actually going to want to, plug in your cord here and then plug it in here. It's happened before, and it's totally fine. I mean, it seems confusing. Like, why is there a port here? We must have to put something in it, right? So this is just for charging your tablet or your phone or whatever other device you want to use. I don't know if there's like an official list of things that supports charging. I can just tell you that I have personally used it to charge a number of devices that I needed to charge. Because when you need a USB port, you need a USB port, right? Oh, one more thing. These little white plastic things right here. There's another one on this side that you can't quite see. Those are the mat guides. And they will be important when we put our mat in. All right, so we have plugged in our Cricut. We have it attached. We have it powered on. The white button. The button is lit up and it's white. So we're good to go. All right, we have done this step. Next step is to connect it to our computer. Now, I am using my Mac computer right now, and it needs to be connected by the USB cord. That will be true for a Windows computer as well. If, however, you have an iPhone, iPad, or Android tablet or phone, the connection will be different, and I will go over that after this, so don't worry. We need our USB cord. A little twisty tie. Okay, so one end goes in the back of your Cricut Maker, and the other will go into your computer. If you have a laptop, there should be a USB port on the side. If you have a MacBook, you might have to get an adapter because they don't have a lot of ports. If you have a desktop computer, it should be in the back. So let me show you the port on the Maker. This is the USB that goes into your laptop or desktop, and this is the end that goes into your Cricut. and it goes with the logo pointing down like this. So it goes in right here, and it just snaps into place. And this end needs to go into the computer. My computer, this cable, by the way, is only 6 feet long. You need to be within 6 feet of your computer, or you need to do what I'm doing and use a USB extension cable, because my computer is currently more than 6 feet away. So I have one right here. So it actually just extends it. So this is plugged into the back of my computer right now. So I can plug this in just like this. And now it's connected to my computer, right? So you can get these at Best Buy or, you know, Amazon, wherever you get electronics. So let's move these things all around here. So we have some, there we go. Okay, we are connected to the computer now. It is plugged in on both ends, both the Cricut and the computer itself. So go back to Cricut Design Space, and you can see that now this button tells us we're ready to continue. It knows that we've connected to our Cricut, and it knows the Cricut Maker is turned on. It's still on, and so we click continue, and it's going to check to see if it needs any updates. If you just got it, it probably does. You go ahead and click update. And it just uses your internet connection to update it if it needs to. This Cricut Maker needs no updating, so it's good to go. Not a problem if you do, of course. Now, it invites you, it doesn't invite you, it tells you you need to register your machine. This is your email address. You double check that you typed it correctly. If you didn't type it correctly, you can click on this to fix your email address. And just a general note, this is not a real email address for me. So if you email it, it will go into a black hole and not get answered. So don't do that, because I don't want to ignore anybody. This is just for this video. All right, so this looks good. So we're going to click I agree and click register. And we're successful. That's really easy. Okay, now Cricut presents a special offer, 1 month free of Cricut Access, which is really cool. And I'm going to tell you all about Cricut Access in lesson 3 of these Cricut Kickoff lessons. And it's best that you begin this free trial when you're actually ready to use Cricut Design Space. So for now, I'd like you to click no thanks. But don't worry, you'll be able to get this special offer again, and I will show you exactly where to find it in lesson 3. So just click the no thanks link for now. Okay. And now we get to this page that invites us to test the cut. So we're going to cut something out together to make sure that everything is working. But at this point, I want to show what it's like to install on Windows, and then the iPad, and then the Android. Okay. So let's go to Windows first. All right. So we're going to connect to my Windows laptop. And you want to do the same thing as you did before. Go to Cricut.com/setup, and you will get a similar looking screen. Click download, and I recommend that you go over to where it's downloading there in the lower left corner, and then that little arrow, click that and choose open when done. That makes it really easy to find. You don't have to go hunting for it, but if you can't find it, it will be in your downloads folder on your Windows computer. But otherwise, this is the easiest way. And I use Windows a lot, so I'm all for easy. So once it's downloaded, and a little install screen will pop up. So give it some time, be patient. If it's not doing anything right away, it's okay. See, now there it is. It's downloading for us, or installing for us, sorry. And once it finishes installing and doing all of its Windows registration stuff, it'll actually open for you. If you see a different number, by the way, a version number, don't worry. The version numbers they're constantly updating the software. So you click the same places as we did, and click on the Maker, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put in all of your information if you are new. If you're not new, you can just do the sign in down below where it says already have a Cricut ID, and you would sign in there. So then go ahead and click the green button, and you're going to do exactly what we did. Prepare your workspace, find your outlet and plug it in, and then connect it to your computer. And once you do that, by the way, that little button down at the bottom will not turn dark green until you're actually connected. That is your signal that you have done it properly. So if it's not, so there you go. It's just turned dark green. So we got it connected now. So we click it when it says continue. It'll check for any updates. And okay, it's good. So, and then again, click no thanks for now. And then we get to the same page. So let's test the cut. So this is the same spot that we stopped at on the Mac. All right, now let's do the iPad, okay? So the iPad is different because it doesn't have a USB cable, right? So we're gonna put this one away and let's get out the iPad. All right, so this is my iPad. Now the iPad needs to get the app from the App Store. All right, so don't bother with that Cricut.com/setup thing. Go to the App Store, tap search, and then search for Cricut Design Space. You don't want anything else, only Cricut Design Space. There's some other things on there called Cricut. You want that one that looks like that in the upper right corner where it says Cricut Design Space with all of those ratings and lots of downloads. So tap it to download it. Cricut Design Space is free. It's free for both the desktop version and the app version on our mobile devices, by the way. So then when it's done, tap open and the app will open for you. And you want to tap on Machine Setup and choose the Maker. And again, create a Cricut ID if you're brand new. If you already have a Cricut ID, then you'll want to tap on that sign in button down there at the bottom instead. And be sure to tap that you agree to their terms of service, otherwise it doesn't let you continue. And be sure you spell your name or your email correctly, or else you'll be missing out on, like, you'll find it harder to log in and you'll have issues if you go to get Cricut access and et cetera, et cetera. Just, that's why there's two fields for the email address, in fact, is so that you can be sure that you're typing in correctly, because if it's wrong, that's where it would show up. So you'll want to put in a password, tap that checkbox, and then create your account. And again, a Cricut Design Space account is free. All right, so at this point you need to connect to Bluetooth because again, there's no USB. So you actually have to go to your settings and open up Bluetooth, which we're gonna do. So you just tap on settings and you find Bluetooth, make sure it's turned on. And as long as your Cricut Maker is turned on, you will see your Maker there. So when asked for a pin, you type in 4 zeros and that's it. You are connected. It's very simple to do. All right, so that's how you connect to Bluetooth on an iPad. And then once you're connected, you can go back to Cricut Design Space and continue. And it knows when you're connected, right? It's smart. So once it's connected, again, it looks for any machine updates that you might have. And if it has them, if there are updates to do, it will do them now. So you tap continue and say no thanks for now to Cricut Access. And there's our test cut, right? So now we're up to the same stage again. All right, so now let's look at Android. So I have an Android tablet, but I'm showing you the Cricut Explorer version instead of the Maker version because it's identical except for which machine you tap on, okay? So you want to get the app from the Google Play Store. So you search for Cricut Design Space and make sure you open up just the Cricut Design Space one and install it. And it installs pretty quickly. It's not the biggest application. So again, free on Android, free on iOS, free on desktop, which is pretty cool, actually. Can't say that's true of other companies that offer software like this. All right, so once it's finished downloading, you can open it. And it takes you right into Cricut Design Space. And it's all going to look very familiar. You tap on Machine Setup. And you're going to tap the Maker, of course, not the Explorer, the Maker. And then you need to create a Cricut ID if you are brand new to Cricut. So you put in your name and your country and your email address and all that good stuff. So now we're at the Get Connected stage. So you have to pair with Bluetooth just the way you did on the iPad. So you need to tap the button, that little green plus button at the bottom, to pair with your Maker, which is turned on. And it'll look for it, and it'll look for any Bluetooth devices, but in this case, your Maker's turned on and ready to be paired with. And so you'll see it show up there in your pair machine box. The numbers will be different than mine. Every machine has a different set of numbers, at least I think they do. But you just tap it to connect. You put in the PIN number, 4 zeros, again, the same on every device. It's 4 zeros. As far as I know, it's always 4 zeros. So you put that PIN number in, and then you tap OK, and then you confirm the pairing request. And you just give it a minute. It's talking to your device, and you'll have to confirm that you want to do it, I believe. You have to tap on it to select it, to activate it, and there we go. And the Cricut will know, Cricut Design Space will know, and it'll tell you can continue. Just like with all the others, it'll look for any updates that it needs to do. And then we have success. Then we tap that green button one more time, and we are ready to test a cut. Awesome. So that's all of our devices, and we are ready to actually cut something. So it says, let's test a cut. So we're going to select one of these 6 symbols. I always like to pick the sunflower because I love sunflowers. And then down here, we click on the green next button. Now we need to prepare for a cut. All right, here's our packet of materials. Let's see what's inside here. Oh, we have another seal. Let's open that up carefully. We don't want to cut our materials. Alrighty. So inside we have a piece of white cardstock and a piece of blue cardstock. So this is the small cardstock that they refer to, and this is a bigger one so you can keep making things after you do the test. I presume that's what it's for. Or maybe it's in case you mess up and you need more cardstock and you don't have any. I'm not sure. All right, so we have our small cardstock. Now we have 2 mats that came in our Cricut Maker. The pink fabric grip mat. There's like a little label on it here. And it says it's for fabrics only, and it is for fabrics only. It's not very sticky. You don't want to use this one for your test cut. Okay, so just set this aside. We will talk about this tomorrow in lesson 2. All right, the one that we want is this one here. This is the blue light grip mat. This is appropriate for cardstock. This mat is 12 by 12, and you can, let's just go ahead and take off this plastic cover here. So we just take that right off like this. Keep this. You're going to want to save this for protecting your mat later. So this is on a grid, 12 by 12. This is an adhesive mat. Your material will stick to it. See? It sticks to my fingers. The edges are not adhesive. So the only parts of this mat that you put material on are the sticky parts. You put it on the edges, you can get caught in your rollers or under your guides and just kind of be a mess. So it only goes on the sticky part. And the Cricut always starts the cut in the top left corner unless you tell it otherwise. So by default, we always put our material up here. So I'm going to go ahead and just place it up there, starting right here at this top right here where it meets. That's where the adhesive is, right there. And so you want to match up this corner to that corner and keep it as straight as you can. Does not have to be perfect. This is good enough. All right, and press it down. I know it's the same color, so it's hard to see, but there, it's on there. And you want to press it down so it's well adhered. Okay, so now we have prepared for our cut. Our next step is confirm that the blade is set in place in clamp B. All right, let's set this aside and go take a look. So here is our Cricut. Open this back up again. Ta-da! All right, so there is our blade right here in clamp B, and the clamp is closed. Everything looks good. You always want to make sure that it's well seated in the clamp, not like, you know, sticking out funny. This looks great. Okay, so we have our clamp, our blade in clamp B, and we do want to use this blade. Now, as I noted earlier, there is another blade in the box. Let me just show you this real briefly. So this is the rotary blade, and it's in your box. You're not using this for this project. I will talk about this blade in lesson 2 tomorrow, okay? Alrighty, we have done our prepare for cut. All right, so now we need to push the mat up under the guides toward the rollers. Now, the rollers, as I noted earlier, are the black rubbery things. Like right here's a roller, and there's another one on the other side. And the mat guides are these white plastic things here. So you want to put your mat with your material in the top left corner right here, and it goes under your mat guides. I might have to stand up here to see. Here we go. So you want to under both mat guides on both sides. All right, just like this, and then you want to press against the rollers lightly That's important because if you just kind of set it in here like this and then proceed on, chances are it won't do anything. You actually need to apply just a little bit of light pressure against those rollers as you when we're ready to go. Okay, so this is in set and this is ready to go. All right, now our next step is to press the flashing load unload button on the machine. All right, so the load and unload button is flashing right now. Can you see that? It's flashing against my finger. You can see that. So we're going to press this mat lightly against the rollers as we press this button. And then it sucks it right in for us. And it's ready to go. Okay. And when it's ready, by the way, this flashes. The C button, the go button, it flashes. So we know it's loaded and flashing, ready to go. And indeed, that's exactly what Cricut Design Space says. It says to press the flashing go button on the machine. So let's do it. Now you'll note that it came back quite a bit. That's why it's so important to have that space behind the machine, right? So you probably couldn't see it, but it came back, oh, maybe 6 inches just now. And then it'll start to cut. Here we go. So there it is. Cutting away. This, by the way, here, don't forget you have a pause button. If at any time you have to pause it for some reason, you can. You know, sometimes something isn't sticking well to the mat or whatever. That's usually when you forgot to put in a tool, like a scoring stylus, you could pause it. And it's cutting out our sunflower. So here is the cut design. Now, so let's go back and see what it says before we do anything else. You'll note though that this button is flashing. This is the load unload button that normally says it's time to load or time to unload. But Cricut Design Space says that your test cut is complete. So we're going to click on, there we go. So it tells us to unload the button, press the unload button. So that's easy. So I'm going to go ahead and press that. And there it is. Isn't that beautiful? The Cricut is so precise. It's one of my favorite things. Okay, now let me show you how to get this off of your mat. We're going to close up the Cricut. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off since we're not going to be using it anymore tonight. We'll use it more in lesson 3. Maybe a little bit in lesson 2 when we talk about tools and blades and stuff. I'm sure I'll have it out then. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close it. All right, here's our mat. You can see the design on it. That's second to focus. See, isn't that beautiful? Look how sharp and clean that is. I know it's blue, so it's a little hard to see, but it's lovely. Okay, so when we remove material from the mat, we, instead of just like tearing it off here, which we certainly could do, you will have much more success and be happier with your results. You flip your mat over onto your surface and peel the mat away from your paper or other material. So we just kind of gently bend it and it practically comes off by itself. So that's this is the part that we would discard or put into our scrap pile. So let's set it over here. And then we can get the sunflower itself off. And by doing it this way, we are going to avoid making our paper curl. And also it's just a lot cleaner. You don't get ripped paper this way, which you can sometimes get when you do it the other way. And there is our beautiful sunflower. Isn't that, look how sharp those edges are. Isn't that amazing? It's just so pretty. Okay, so we've done it. We, of course, have some paper left on our mat. You can just sit here and remove it with your fingers if you like, but there's a tool that you can use to remove it, and I will tell you about it tomorrow when we talk about all the other tools and supplies and all the other things that you can use with the Cricut Maker to make creating and crafting and making easier. Sound good? So we have done it. We have successfully set this up, and that's really cool. It went pretty well, I think. So if you've got any questions about how to set up your Cricut Maker, please let me know. Leave your question below this video or ask over in my Cricut Crafters group at jennifermaker.com/CricutCrafters, where you can get help and guidance from hundreds of thousands of Cricut crafters just like you. It is an awesome place filled with really helpful people. Now, if you also want to learn how to set up your Cricut Joy or Cricut Explorer, I have lessons on those cutting machines as well. Get links to those classes over at CricutKickoff.com. Tomorrow, I'll be back to show you all of the supplies and tools and materials I think that are useful for a Cricut Maker, and that will be in Lesson 2, Know Your Tools. Until next time, in our next class, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.